going on, everybody? Welcome to episode 27 of Big Game Talk. I'm Brad. That's Chris over there. We're fresh out of bed on Thanksgiving Monday. That's why we're dressed down. But
Yep.
let's talk some sports. We had UFC Fight Night on Saturday night. Want to get right into that, or you
Yeah,
want to
let's
go with
do it.
Bellator first?
Let's go. Let's
UFC?
go to UFC first because I think the main event of the morning is gonna be Bellator, um,
Fair enough.
because
Fair enough.
they're in Paris. So let's give them the due credit, and let's go start with the UFC.
Okay. All right. So we had the main event, Marlon Moraes versus Corey Sandhagen. And going into this, it looked like it was going to be a pretty evenly matched fight. Sandhagen showed up and just caught Moraes, really,
Yeah.
with that spinning heel kick. Like
Yeah.
that was pretty solid.
hmm
We're literally 30 seconds in the show, you're texting somebody.
I'm not texting somebody. I'm just pulling up the UFC so I can see down the line.
Okay, I have it up here, Chris.
Yeah, but I don't have it
Okay,
in.
okay, okay.
Some of these are like lower down. Like I just don't.
So
I mean,
okay,
I have enough problem with Morales's name.
yeah. If you follow us on Instagram, this guy picks Morales to win the fight, even though the guy's name's Marias. This is why when we normally record at night, not in the morning. This is a tough start of the
Yeah,
episode
this is a
already.
very tough start, and I can't be blamed, okay, for anything I say at work or in the morning. So, and that Morales thing that happened at work, and I'm gonna keep saying it this morning.
Okay, so but what did you think of Sandhagen's performance, especially coming off of a pretty embarrassing loss to Sterling, where if he beats Sterling in his last fight, probably is in line for a title shot right now?
Yeah, I think definitely Sandhagen stepped up to the situation. He bounced back, and he was very reserved starting off the fight. Like
Mm-hmm.
Marias was like tagging him a lot, like not huge hits, but just kept eating away at him. And Sandhagen almost just like sat down, waited on the pitch, and snuck up. I think Marias really gassed him. So I was thinking, you're not swinging to knock him out. You can't be throwing punches like this
Mm-hmm.
early, like in the fight, and
Mm-hmm.
expect to make it 3 rounds. So I think Sandhagen just wore him down, like was patient, which was really nice to see, and just waited for his moment and waited for Marias to get tired.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And then, I mean, a beautiful spinning heel kick. Like
Yeah,
that's something that doesn't happen in live events, and it happens in video games. Like that's
yeah,
how you try to end a fight in a video game, and he just simply did it in the main event of a fight
yeah.
night, and in
It,
a spot too where, like, I'm not saying he's getting the title shot, but a good performance here by
mhm.
Marias was probably maybe would have jumped Sterling for the title shot. So if you're Sandhagen, this solid performance here, it's going to be in people's memory, and you're probably next in line after Sterling.
Yeah, and if Sterling gets the title, to roll that back,
Mhm.
that's a great fight to make. Both these guys, have seen each other.
Yeah.
Now things have changed. One has the title. Sandhagen feels a
Mhm.
little bit like he lost that opportunity. Now he gets it again. I like that.
Now, I saw a lot of this online, and I really don't know how to feel about it. A lot of people say next for Sandhagen should be TJ Dillashaw when he comes back, though. What do you feel about that?
Next for Marias, T.J.
No, no,
Dillashaw,
no, next for Sandhagen.
Sandhagen, T.J. Dillashaw.
So that'd be January, theoretically.
That's I mean, if you're Sandhagen, that's a tough fight to sell you on. Considering you were on track and then you got off track and now you're back on track and now fight a very tough opponent who's
See,
had a lot of time.
I think it's tougher to sell it to Dillashaw than it is to Sandhagen.
Really?
Because realistically, I get it. TJ Dillashaw has been suspended, but he's probably number one contender because he could easily come back and first fight back be a title shot.
Yeah.
Realistically, you could make a very good argument for that, and I think that should happen.
Mm-hmm.
He never dropped the title.
Yeah.
He lost it, and two, the suspension for PED use came for a flyweight title fight. So if you want to get real specific here, he technically, you could say he probably was cheating at bantamweight, but he technically never got
yeah.
caught.
So in bantamweight, he's an innocent man in our books.
Yeah, but you're looking at that. You could easily stick him back in the title shot.
Yeah.
So if Sandhagen beats him, that's a huge name to have on your record. and you're guaranteed a title shot. Where for this one, you could very easily be passed up. Like if another bantamweight goes on and puts a great performance, you could easily look at Sterling. Sterling subbed Sandhagen and is what 4 months later is still trying to get the title shot.
Yeah.
Dane's not giving it to him. So it's a what have you done for me lately? So and Dillashaw would be a big thing.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. That would definitely if there's some staleness coming in, who's getting those title fights, beating Dillashaw, that says a lot. But if you're the UFC, do you want Dillashaw to lose? And do you want Sandhagen to lose, or do you not care about Sandhagen?
I think
more about Dillashaw.
I think at that point, if you're the UFC, you're just putting two studs together, figure it out. I don't think there's an effort to put one guy over.
Yeah.
In this case, I think bantamweight's deep enough. You don't need to do that.
Yeah.
But if I'm the UFC, I honestly, I think Dillashaw, his first fight back, should probably be a title shot.
Like you throw him in the deep end.
Yeah, because he's 35. He's real. Like, when's the last time he fought a non-title fight? It's been quite a while. He's not getting any younger, and he's coming back. In my opinion, like I've said on this podcast multiple times, I think he's going to come back better. And I think if you're the UFC, you understand that. So it's throw him in the deep end. He's probably going to be the biggest name as a title holder too.
Yeah.
You set up a Garbrandt trilogy if Garbrandt can get back in line.
Yeah.
At bantamweight. You set up a Cruz rematch if Cruz can figure it out. If Cejudo wants to come back, that's a big selling rematch.
Yeah.
So anybody, like, there's a lot more options.
Yeah,
like Peter Yan and Aljamain Sterling, great fighters.
Yeah.
They're not big sellers.
And that's an interesting you bring up Cejudo, because like Cejudo's coming back if the fight really interests him. What that means is if the pay is worth it, and there's not enough in a Yan fight, there's not enough in a Sterling fight, there's not just enough attention. As great as those fighters are, there's just not enough eyes on them to justify that. I think the only one that Cejudo who's around right now that Cejudo would come back for is Dillashaw, because that's the name that looks great on the poster.
Yeah. Yeah, because you look at Aljamain Sterling and Peter Yan are very known to us, but if you're a casual fan, you probably don't know who those fighters are. And that's no knock on them, because they're amazing fighters. It's just the kind of the nature of the business.
Yeah.
So great fight overall. And if you watch our Instagram stories, Chris got it wrong and I got it right. The next one, the co-main event.
How did that Bucks game go? We'll get into that later.
Yeah, we'll get into that later. So Edson Barbosa versus Makwan Amirkhani, Mr. Finland. So Barbosa won by a decision. Pretty dominant decision too. Like Makwan had some good moments, but overall Edson really dominated this. It was a good fight. Yeah. Again, Barbosa, I don't know how he's making featherweight considering he was at lightweight for so long. Yeah. And he looks completely different.
Good, though.
He looks good, but if you look at him at lightweight versus featherweight, like he's skinny now, like he's shredded.
Well, and it's all in like the torso. What is this? The torso? Like
sure.
It's all in the. I'm no biologist, but it was like it's like he was sucking in his gut the whole time. It looked a little bit unhealthy, but
it is a little bit unhealthy. Like the weight cutting is a wild part of this sport, and dude, I don't know how he's making it.
It's nuts.
But he's putting in a good performance, and for such a dominant 3-round decision. Normally, when you go down in weight, the first thing to go I would expect is your stamina, and that obviously did.
Yeah.
So I mean, good for him if he can make kind of a late career surge at featherweight.
Yeah.
It's pretty top heavy division, but I mean, it's more clear than lightweight. So if he wants another shot at the title or first shot, I don't think he's ever had a shot. I don't think he gets there. I don't think he gets there, but good for him.
Yeah. And I think at featherweight, like he has a little bit more reach, and he was really, really stalking the whole time. Like he was really like dominating, like keeping a good distance. And I think that little advantage, like I think if he really plays into that, I think he can not go on a title run, but go on a little late career run at the end. So
yep, that'd be solid. And then Ben Rothwell versus Marcin Tybura. Tabira won by decision, and decent fight. But anytime heavyweights go to a
I was
decision,
just about to say that. Yeah, it's just
yeah, it's disappointing.
yeah,
Like
but
when, especially like you were saying during non-ranked heavyweights.
yeah, non-ranked heavyweights like going the distance by that third round. Like, thank God it wasn't a 5-round fight because
Yeah,
by that third round, uh, like we could have put out a better performance.
yeah. Well, I mean, I wouldn't go that far. Like it was a good fight. It's just it's you don't want to see heavyweights in the third round, especially if like seeing Miocic Cormier in the third round. Yes, I'll take that
Yeah.
any day of the week.
Hmm.
Seeing unranked heavyweights, I just want to see knockouts for them.
Hmm.
Like no offense, but like that's what we want to see. We don't want to see them just absolutely gassed. Like
Yeah.
just give me the knockout.
Yeah.
So so that was overall though decent fight.
Decent fight. Yeah.
Anything? Well, really, the only other thing of note I'd say from the card was the Joaquin Buckley versus Impa. I don't even want to try and say that last name. And let me make sure I got his name. Yeah, Joaquin Buckley.
Hmm.
With probably, you could make an argument here, the best knockout in UFC history.
Yeah.
Like, I
Yeah.
think there's, like, Masvidal's pretty up there.
Hmm.
But this was, I think this might have been the best knockout in UFC history.
Yeah. And it was something like looking at it, and I missed it, but I watched the replay going around, and it was like something you just can't plan for. You
Mm-hmm.
can't practice that. Like
Mm-hmm.
his one leg, like it was being held onto. Like I think it was his leg, or I don't know
Yeah,
which
the guy
leg.
had a hold of his left leg,
Left
and
leg.
he
Yeah.
jumped, spun around, and with the right leg, just kicked him.
Like
Like I don't know,
I wonder if you could make that jump without the leverage of the guy holding onto your left
no,
leg.
there's
You,
no
you
way.
can't. Like it's like, I got your leg. Oh yeah. Yeah.
It honestly it looked like a WWE move.
Yeah.
Like when they guy grabs his leg and then they do the little spinning kick. That's
Yeah.
exactly what he did.
Yeah.
It was essentially a WWE finishing move that happened in a UFC
Yeah.
cage.
Like whoever does the fights choreography for like Black Widow was watching that fight was like, write that down.
Yeah, really.
Write that down. Like that was a movie knockout. That
I
was
mean,
not.
great knockout. I mean, this kid too, his stock just rose so much. I
Hmm.
mean, one, it's $50,000 richer because one, obviously he got the performance bonus from that.
Yeah.
Honestly, if I'm Dana White, knowing the type of president he is, a lot of people give him crap, but he probably got more than $50,000. Quite
Yeah.
honestly, for that, like
Mhm.
because they're gonna see the amount of hits that's getting online, and
Yeah.
they definitely gave him a little something extra.
Yeah.
And next fight, like he's probably on the main card and his stock's gonna rise.
Mhm. Yeah.
So good for him, man.
Yeah.
Good for him. And it was exciting.
Yeah. And like even the look on his face, like no one could believe it. No one like you know, like
No.
especially the guy that got kicked, but
Well, the guy that got kicked, his eyes rolled right back in his
yeah.
head too. That
Yeah.
like cause the way he dropped too made the knockout so much better too.
Yeah. Yeah, cuz he like twisted, you know, like he just
Hmm.
like crumpled.
Great radio.
Great
Great
radio.
radio.
Well, I'm explaining with the
Wait,
words, but I'm also
you're sitting there with your hands and like you're just feeling the
all right.
motion.
What time is it? It's 9:30 in the morning. Okay, Brad, it's early.
All right.
For a guy that's been in school doing online school, this is real early.
Yeah, yeah. For people, when I go to work, I get my lunch break. I'm back from lunch for an hour. And the text I sent Chris first thing in the morning, he'll respond to because he's just woken up. I'm 2 hours away from being done my day essentially, and Chris will respond to me.
Yeah, yeah. But when do you finish your day? My day doesn't finish until like 2 in the morning. Grinding.
Yeah, I'm sure online school right now just it's super hard, eh?
Yeah. It's like it's 50-50. Like some
Yeah,
of this stuff. I mean, there's a couple classes I haven't looked at all,
yeah,
and I
yeah.
got stuff due. after this week, and it's like, okay, time to watch 5 weeks of lectures.
Yeah, you can't. I lived with you when you were in real school, so I know how you're gonna be in online school.
Yeah. Yeah, so
Do you want to start for Bellator? Do you want to start with the morning main event or the afternoon main event, or do you want to start talking about how stupid it is that
yeah,
they
I
had
didn't
two different main
see, I
events?
was at work all day because unlike you who gets up at 2 in the afternoon, I was working.
Oh yeah, big
But
guy
yeah,
over here.
so
Okay, so how stupid it is. So Bellator, like for people that don't know, they had essentially a main card start at 10 in the morning that had a main
mm,
event.
yeah.
Then they rolled into a prelims that started at 1, and then they had another main event start at 5. Just do one card. Just do one card.
It was all one venue.
Well, yeah, all one venue. They just rolled the fights through. They just had them at different times and on different streaming platforms too.
So what?
Why?
Like the first one was on what?
CBS or DAZN, and then the
Yeah.
second one was on YouTube.
You know what that's like? That's like the sitcom trope where the guy has 2 dates to the dance and he's got to like change clothes. Some like Bellator exec got just like screwed something up and they signed a deal with YouTube and they signed a deal with like what, CBS,
No, but
whatever.
this is common for them to do in foreign areas. I don't get it.
Well, I mean, I think for the time zones you could play that, you know? Like if it's
No, just do one card.
yeah, but then you hit 2 different sides of the world, you know? Because if you have a 10 o'clock main event,
Well, what time is it in France at 5 o'clock here?
what am I, a French person?
It's like 11 o'clock in France, I think. I think they're 6 hours ahead.
Yeah, so if it's 6 hours ahead, then it's 10 o'clock here, and then there it's I'm gonna let you do the math because you're an
But
accountant.
it doesn't make, then do the whole card first thing in the morning.
Yeah, but then you still then you get like the French people in the like late afternoon, and then they can watch a main event at night, and then the people in stateside and Canada side.
If it's a 6 hour difference though, Chris, start the main event at 6 o'clock. No. Yeah, like 6 o'clock their time if they want, or 8 o'clock their time. Then it's either noon or 2 here. Not awful. The main card was at 5. You're not looking at that big of a difference. You, instead of having two
Yeah,
kind
but
of weak
then
main
you cut
cards,
into
you get one
UFC.
decent.
The last thing you want to do with a foreign card is to cut into UFC.
Then have the whole thing start at 10 in the morning. Who cares? I still watch them when at 10
Yeah,
in the
but
morning.
then it's like okay, so if they had 2 main events, what each one was like 3 fights, right?
No, the late one was 2 fights.
It was 2 fights.
Yeah,
Yeah,
two,
and then how many
two
were in?
fights.
How many were
Three,
in the
four.
4? So that's 6. You can't fit 6 fights in a main card, Brad. You gotta split that up.
Main cards are normally 6 fights.
That's too many. I'm
Which just
with
doesn't.
Bellator. I'm doubling down for Bellator.
Well, but it separates because the main events, like both main events, realistically should be a co-main event. I
Yeah.
mean, you know what I mean? So you put them together and it makes a decent main card. You separate them and you just have a 2 fight main card. Come on. Especially after a 3.5 hour set of prelims. What are we doing here?
That was preceded by a main event.
Yeah,
What
exactly.
like what if they started doing that? Like main events first.
I would hate it.
Yeah, I know. I'm just
Well, and
like
also it would ruin it because the whole point is you tune in for the main event.
yeah.
And then all the fighters before you get, people have to watch them essentially, and you start building their
Yeah.
storylines up
Yeah,
until they
yeah.
are the main event.
Yeah, but you're always saying like, oh, these main events are so late. Like I gotta get up to work in the morning, because I'm a responsible human being. It's like you're always complaining. So
Yeah, well, start the card 2 hours earlier. So
I
with the UFC, they started at 8 p.m. Perfect.
perfect.
That's all I'm saying. Main card started at 8 p.m. I just at 10 p.m. way too late for main card start.
Yeah,
Especially when there's a pay-per-view with 2 title fights and it gets done at 1:32 in the morning.
Yeah, imagine waiting until almost 2 in the morning for two or two main card fights. Like
Yeah, yeah.
that's tough.
All right. So, want to get into the results of Bellator here?
Yeah, let's get into those results.
So the first main card in the morning,
Yeah.
really the only fight of note was Michael Venom Page versus Ross Houston. I know you didn't watch this fight, but it was a 175-pound contract weight because Bellator just loves to just let people weigh in 5 pounds heavier than their actual weight division for some reason. Again, they both were, I think, 174 pounds. Cut 3 pounds and make welterweight. It's not that difficult.
Yeah.
Michael Venom Page won by decision. I do not like Michael Venom Page. Years ago, he literally broke a man's skull, and then while the guy was on the ground in pain, I mean, he broke his skull. He threw a Pokeball at him,
Threw a Pokeball
like a Pokemon ball at him.
in the octagon?
Yeah, in the ring.
Where'd he get it from?
Like he had the prop set up. Like he put on the Pokemon hat, threw the Pokeball at him while the guy's rolling around on the ground in pain because he's broken his skull.
So how do you have a problem? What, he just sticking in his shorts?
No, his corner brought it out.
Oh, okay. That's pretty quick then. If he's still
Yeah.
on the ground. I mean, you crack your
Even-
skull, you're on the ground for a while.
Yeah, exactly. So I'm not a big fan of MVP.
Yeah, okay, but let's try to think of it from his perspective, okay? He's like, I got this great bit. It's hilarious in any other context. We got the prop, we got the Pokeball. I had to send one of my goons out, to some Walmart to go get to the toy section to get a Pokeball and a Pokemon hat. And they got it in the corner. We got it out here, and I have this great bit, and it's all hinging on me winning. Oh, look, I just won, and then like, oh, he looks actually pretty hurt. Like, maybe we shouldn't do this. It's like, nah, we went to Walmart. We went through all the expense of getting this here. I'm gonna do it.
But
Think about it from his perspective.
I get it, but every one of his fights, like there was the one fight after he lost against Douglas Lima, he fought a guy that I think he would have been minus 700 favorite or more, and the guy they were just lipping each other before the fight because Venom Page
Mm-hmm.
he was just being a dink before the fight, and afterwards they're still lipping each other, and it would be like us fighting a kid in grade 5 and just tonguing them, and then afterwards showing them no respect. And it's like, of course you're gonna beat them. There was no chance in the world that they ever had a chance against you. Just show some respect.
Yeah, that's fair.
It is what it is. It is what it
That's
is.
fair.
And Ross Houston, show up, guy.
Mm-hmm.
Like you're the one that wanted this fight. You went in. I get you went in as big underdog, but show up. You look bored out there, and it wasn't really close.
Yeah.
So, and then the other main event, let me bring it up here. It was a 2-fight card. So the co-main event, Sal Rogers beat RB Mesidov by submission. I don't think either of us felt that was necessary to tune in for.
I don't think I saw that. I
Yeah.
think I saw the end. I was coming home from work.
Yeah. The main event, Czech Congo versus Timothy Johnson. Timothy Johnson won by decision. Pretty lackluster fight.
Yeah.
Especially considering you feel for Czech Congo, his first time being able to fight in France.
Yeah.
And we were talking during the fight, he's 45 years old. Probably nice for him to get that win, walk out, kind of ride off into the sunset in his home country.
Yeah.
And go his way. Didn't look good at all in the fight. Didn't look good at all. I mean, Timothy Johnson really didn't look that great either, even though he won. But what you get in Bellator sometimes.
Yeah. Yeah, and that's like you always, like, for every good fight in Bellator, there's one that reminds you, oh, it's Bellator. No disrespect. But and it was hard to hear Congo afterwards, because they put a mic in his face, and he was just saying, like, I'm disappointed. Like, I'm just like, and the whole thing felt disappointing. Like, Bellator's in Paris, first MMA event in Paris. You got like a Frenchman fighting in the card in the main event,
Mhm.
like with some name value to him. and end of his career. You know, you're going up the ranks in the MMA world, and you're never thinking you're gonna get to fight. Everybody else pretty much gets to fight at home at one point in their career. You know,
Hmm.
you just think, okay, it's not gonna happen. Then lo and behold, it happens. You know, but at the same time, I mean, imagine if there was fans, like
There
how
was there
different.
was some fans there.
Yeah, there was. Yeah, I was surprised how like they got loud when they were cheering for him. But imagine a full arena of fans behind this guy, how
Yeah,
that changes the dynamic of a fight. You
I
know,
agree. I agree.
and even if he still lost, which probably would have happened. I mean, fans don't change it that much, but it would give him a little bit of an edge. But just to be able to say, you know, at the end of the fight when he was speaking in French, like I didn't know what he was saying, but it moved me, you know, because it's like a guy speaking to his people
Hmm.
in the world of his in the land of his people. You know, that was special, and everybody was cheering and stuff. That was special. And you know, after seeing so many events without fans, to have a little bit of fans there, and just the enthusiastic fan. A lot of these fans, it's like the first time. Like you can relate because it's probably the first time a lot of them have been to an MMA event. You know,
Yeah, I didn't even think of that. Yeah.
you know, and these are fans like the like when we went to when UFC was to this card, Holloway Ortega, you know, that was the first time and we were there, we're like, wow, man, that's sick. And then but there were
We
people
actually got
that
to see good fights though
yeah,
too.
yeah, like there was people that had been there like or have been fans for their entire like for the entire time the UFC has been around, and they've been to events before. But there's people in France that have been like since MMA has been a thing, they've been fans, but they just couldn't go to any events. You finally get to go, you know, but it's limited capacity, which
Yeah,
sucks. Like COVID sucks, man.
it does. And we're gonna get into a little bit more of that later. But do you want to kind of preview next week's UFC
Hmm.
card? So, main event: Brian Ortega versus Chan Sung Jung, the Korean Zombie. Who you got and why?
Ortega,
Yeah.
Ortega,
Same.
because like I think, um, like he's just solid. I think his last fight against Holloway. I mean, that's a very tough fight. Like it's hard to know how good Ortega is because it's been so long. And like I don't think his last fight against Holloway, this one right here, we were at. It's a hard gauge for how good he is right now because I mean Holloway's just such a fantastic performance, and that was like a incredible. Like Holloway just mucked him in like 10 ways, and like Holloway's such a creative fighter. You know, Ortega didn't really get a chance to show his strength, which is the ground game.
Mm-hmm.
And I think you sit around like for long enough, you know, with you get hurt and then you're just waiting on the fight, and then this Korean Zombie fight just keeps getting made and canceled, and finally it's here. It's a week away. I think Ortega like knows where he is in the rankings. He knows that a title is a less than a hop, skip, and a jump away.
Yeah, the
Uh,
winner of this fight gets title shot.
yeah, so
Dana White said that.
yeah,
So
so I think um yeah, and maybe I'm just a Ortega homer because I've seen him live. You know,
yeah, and I'm gonna be. I was sitting beside you in the seats there, so I'm the same as you.
yeah,
I'm cheering for Ortega. Because honestly, too, we were big on Ortega going into the
yeah,
Holloway fight. There was kind of part of us that would have been really okay if Ortega beat Holloway in that fight.
yeah, oh yeah,
But I think I'd like to say Ortega's gonna win, and I think he will. Korean Zombie's a stud, but I think Ortega takes it. But it goes. Ortega's not going to be the same fighter he was before the Holloway fight
hmm,
because he's had so much time off, and it really depends on how much he went into, well, how much he was able to train because the
yeah,
injuries he sustained would have sat him out for a long time.
yeah,
But how much he was able to kind of sit back, work on the things he needed to work on, and really commit to it.
yeah,
So I think we're gonna see that here, and
yeah,
ring rust sometimes is a thing too.
yeah.
So it'll be interesting to see about that. But I think Ortega bounces back
Yeah,
here.
one thing I'll say, or two things I'll say to that ring rust kind of thing, like because it's a legitimate thing to be thinking about with Ortega. He's been gone for so long, but I think two things that give me some like optimism about the time he's had off. One, the obvious is like he probably hasn't cared about a fight this much in so long, so that's gonna push you, you know.
Hmm.
Like there's actual beef.
Well, I
Like
mean, he
there's
probably cared about the Holloway fight a lot.
yeah, but he wasn't slapping Holloway's boys, before leading up
Fair
to the
enough.
fight.
Yeah,
That's
there's actual what's the word? What's the word?
the
Uh
there's beef.
yeah, no, I'm
Like
saying
there's like
this is horrible radio. What's the
this
word?
is
Animosity.
animosity.
There
That's
we
a
go.
excellent. That was
Okay, cut that a
that
little
was
bit to make it a little bit
that
shorter.
was worth the wait. That was and the second thing I'll say is like I wonder, and now I haven't looked into it to back it. I'm just having this thought right now, but I wonder if ring rust is more a thing if you're a striker than if you're a grappler, because grappling is much easier and like lighter on the body to actually spar. Like you can't spar every
I
day
think,
with striking, but you could spar pretty regularly
and I
with
think too,
jujitsu.
you're gonna look at people with the ground game, like the jujitsu and everything, that becomes so much muscle memory. And I'm not saying striking isn't,
Yeah,
but it's the older you get too, it'd be a lot. The ground game just stays with you, I
yeah,
think. So I feel that now Ortega his striking is.
yeah.
I
No,
mean, you
but
look at the Holloway fight. Before that, he
that
knocked out
was
Frankie Edgar.
yeah,
And that's when Frankie Edgar hadn't been knocked out. Like this is a very different Frankie Edgar than we're looking at now. So his striking is solid. I think for against Korean Zombie, he probably is going to want to take this to the ground. I agree,
mm,
but he's got the striking.
yeah,
And the thing is, during this time off, has he improved on? Has he improved on strengths? Has he fixed his weaknesses? Like that's what, and we're gonna find out.
yeah,
And we got 5 rounds figured out. I think like these guys need 5 rounds. I
yeah,
agree. So
hmm
it's gonna be a hell of a fight.
yeah.
The
Looking
undercard for
forward to it.
this too, pretty weak, by the looks of it. You get the co-main on the UFC website here is Cyril Gain versus Ante Jalaya. Pretty weak. Caitlin Chukagian versus Jessica Andrade at flyweight. That's a good fight. I
Yeah,
like that fight.
that is.
Jimmy Crute versus, it's a hell of a name here, Modestus Bukauskas.
You're
It's a hell
definitely
of a
saying that wrong.
Bukauskas.
Okay, I'll
Yeah.
take it. Yeah, how about
Thomas
that?
Thomas Almeida versus Jonathan Martinez. Yeah, and I don't need to go through the rest of this fight. It's pretty.
Pretty
mean-
tough. I mean that's a huge fight though for not a pay-per-view or
Yeah.
take a Korean Zombie.
Yeah, you don't need to fill the bottom
You don't
of that
need
card.
to. Yeah, you like.
And especially the week before Khabib Gaethje,
Yeah,
like you stick Ortega Korean Zombie at the top of that card, and then just all the other good fights on that card. Fill the pay-per-view up.
yeah,
And
yeah, yeah, yeah.
I completely agree with that.
Yeah, and like, and even I mean, there's always a few good ones that surprise you. You
Yeah.
know, on a card like that, there's always
Like
a
look
few
at
good
Joaquin Buckley.
Yeah,
Like that knockout.
Like who would have saw that coming?
yeah.
Other than Brock.
Shout out to Brock.
Yeah.
Yeah, we need to. This guy needs to have a an Instagram like Brock's bets
Yeah.
because
Yeah. Because he just picks underdogs.
Yeah,
And he
he
just
just picks
somehow
dogs.
wins.
and just wins. Yeah,
So what a guy.
what a
Now
guy.
Bellator main event. Thursday night. Starts
Yeah.
at 10 o'clock. Now, as much as like I hated the 10 o'clocks on Saturdays, I don't have to work on Sunday. You give me a 10 o'clock on a Thursday. Come on, Bellator. The main event, Chris Cyborg versus Arlene Blencow. No offense to Arlene Blencow, but paramedics better be at ringside for this fight. Because this isn't going to be close.
I mean, I mean, to be quite honest with you, when they made this fight, I was like, who is Arlene
Yeah,
Blencow?
I was the same way. Yeah, I was the same.
But I mean, her record's 13-7.
hmm
Not great.
No.
Chris Cyborg's gonna have the size advantage.
Yeah.
She's probably she's. I don't think she is, but a lot of people would argue she's the pound for pound best women's fighter in all of
Mhm.
MMA. I disagree. It's Amanda
No.
Nunes by
Yeah,
far.
like.
But a lot of people make that argument that it's Cyborg.
hmm
This isn't gonna be close. It's gonna be
Maul. I mean, this is a showcase fight for Bellator.
Yeah.
They're just gonna say like she won the title against Julia Budd, and then they're just gonna like, here's our shiny new toy.
Yeah, it's like, yeah, look who
Look
we
at her
just picked
almost.
up.
And you look at her almost murder somebody in the cage.
Yeah,
But I mean, imagine if Arlene Blanca won.
dude, that breaks MMA.
Yeah.
Like that just breaks. Like
I
that.
wonder I wonder what the odds for this fight are going to be. You think she's in the plus 1,000 range?
No, I don't think they ever go. Like they don't go that much. I don't check
Let
it
me.
that much. But I
Yeah.
I would say plus 650. I'm gonna be conservative about it.
Yeah.
Let's
Okay.
see.
Keep talking.
What
I'm
are
bringing
you
up.
saying, Brad?
I think about plus 850.
850? Okay, let's see.
Because plus 850 would have Cyborg in the minus 1,000s.
Yeah. That I mean minus 1000s. Imagine just any like you're going to work and you have a success rate, you're trying to do something and then
Mm-hmm.
plus 1,000.
Yeah,
Like
imagine going
in
to work.
sports.
Imagine you show up at work and somebody's like, I'm gonna bet the likelihood of you being successful at your job today is nil.
Yeah, that's true. Like put it in reverse. Man,
Yeah.
you must have a pretty tough job. Let's hope you're not a surgeon.
Yeah.
Because
Okay. Sports interaction doesn't have the odds up. Okay.
man,
Come
sports
on.
interaction, like the Mohawks, excellent people. I live down the street basically from their big casino.
Mm-hmm.
Great people. Sometimes they drop the ball on sports
Yeah.
interaction.
Yeah.
They,
You might have to bleep that out
you
because you're talking about the wrong set of people.
oh
They're in Quebec.
oh well, there's a Mohawk like raceway.
Yeah. This has been a tough episode so far.
This
Not gonna lie.
It's been a
Okay.
rough one.
Welcome back. So Cyborg is minus 1250, and Arlene Blanco is plus 700.
Say that again.
Cyborg is minus 1250. Blanco is plus 700.
So we split the difference.
Yeah, that's on fight odds.
That's crazy.
Minus 1250 plus 700. That's a big.
Yeah. Yeah.
So,
But Vegas always wins.
yeah.
With odds like that, Vegas always wins.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
Like it's
But I mean, also, don't be afraid to bet your life savings on Cyborg because she will win.
yeah, but well, you would win like 12 cents.
Bet big enough and you'd win some money.
Yeah.
I mean, there's gonna be somebody that's gonna throw some like triple digits or not triple, sorry, like triple digits in the thousands, like 100,000 or something.
Yeah.
So
What would you win?
if you put 100K on it,
Yeah.
you'd win less than 10K. It'd be like something like 8,000 or something.
Why? Like, dude, I
Well, there was
I wouldn't
somebody
have-
on the college football on the weekend. They made a play. It was like 250,000 or something like that, or it might have been more. It might have been more because they bet on a team that was minus 7,000 to win. So it was something like $250,000 bet, and they bet, and the winnings would have been $3,000.
That's nuts.
And it's welcome to money laundering, kids.
Yeah.
This is how you hide your money.
Yep. Yep. Man.
All right.
People living wild lives.
So yeah, I wish I had that problem. Like, oh, should I make this massive bet to win little bits of money? All right. NFL COVID. We talked about it last week. Didn't get any better. So the Titans game was canceled. They had more cases. Patriots game tonight canceled. They had more cases. So I'm just gonna let me pull this up and show you what was so 9 teams were affected.
Yeah.
So Denver's game at New England originally scheduled for Sunday. This is from CBC Sports.
Mm-hmm.
In case anybody thinks I'm plagiarizing. Denver's game at New England originally scheduled for Sunday and then moved to Monday night and then is now canceled and will be played next Sunday afternoon. Kansas City's game against Buffalo, which was supposed to be played Thursday night, has been moved back to Monday, October 19th. Tuesday night's game with the Bills at the Titans, which was originally supposed to be played Sunday, remains on the schedule despite another positive test in Tennessee, so it's going to be canceled.
Yeah.
Other changes. Jets at Chargers moves from week 6 to 11. Jaguars at Chargers moves from week 8 to week 7. Chargers at Broncos moves from week 11 to week 8. Chargers at Dolphins moves from week 7 to week 10. Dolphins at Broncos moves from week 6 to week 11. And changes in the bye week show Denver switching from week 8. New England's moves from next week to this week. Chargers from week 10 to next week. Dolphins from week 10 to next week. Jacksonville from week 7 to week 8. And the Jets from week 11 to week 10.
Wow.
So
That is nuts.
At what point do you just pause the season?
Well, can you even pause the season?
yes.
Like, you can? Like, take 2 weeks off?
Why not?
Regroup?
Why not? Like what is stopping?
I was gonna say you pause the season 2 weeks, you cut in the XFL and ratings tank, but that's not a problem anymore.
Yeah. But what is stopping you from pausing the season? Because all you're doing is setting yourself up for something, because all this rescheduling and everything, you're just forcing a hardship, especially the Titans. They're going to start having to forfeit games soon. The Patriots having their game canceled. You're screwing up bye weeks and everything.
Yeah.
You're making a hardship on teams, and you're making it more likely for injury. You're making the NFL Players Association upset.
Yeah.
Pause the season for 2 weeks. Extend it, or cut 2 weeks off of it.
Yeah.
Like, at the end of the day, it's nobody's going to be upset.
Yeah.
Everybody understands. I mean, the NBA playoffs ended last night in October. The season should be starting soon. You know what I mean? Nobody's going to be upset.
Yeah. And I think that's a good point. But I mean, what happens when you delay it? Like, do you say, okay, do you do like a 2-week pause? You're still practicing? Do you do a 2-week pause? You have to, you got to go home to your families.
Is it,
like,
I don't
2-week pause. Like, you cannot have any contact with the outside world save Uber Eats. Like, is that what you do as the NFL?
Yeah, because there's no point in pausing and going out in public.
Yeah. So,
but you're looking at the Titans. They've been able to practice since September.
Yeah. And what are we now? October 12th. That's gnarly. Like, and it's tough if you're the Titans, and football's like a sport. You gotta be doing it like a lot. Like, they practice more than they play, when the season is going on. Right. So,
and going in cold, you're gonna get injuries.
You're gonna get injuries, and we're already getting tons of injuries. So, and it'd be nice. I mean, there's a lot of teams that a 2-week break, it would be like, COVID aside, it'd be nice to have a couple more weeks of your star player, if he's coming back late in the season,
I agree. But I think even more important than that is just, it's either pause the season, or in a few weeks, the season's going to be canceled.
Yeah. Like, this is dire. Yeah, I agree. This is like, but what happens when you pause the season? Like, I don't see this happening any other way. Like, even if you pause the season, like, I just see we're back in the same spot 4 weeks from now. Personally, like, I just don't see how this is possible.
I think for this, you assume that you're looking at a situation like the MLB had with the Marlins.
Yeah.
Where the Marlins, I think it was the Cardinals, a bunch of teams had it, and there was a lot of cancellations right after another. The difference with the MLB, they were able to throw in double headers, make up games, do all sorts of stuff. The NFL, you can't. So you're saying, okay, our early season screw up, we got to get through this.
Yeah.
To do that and keep continuity throughout the league, we need a 2-week pause to completely reset.
Yeah.
And then continue.
And it's a tough look when Roger Goodell, like last Monday, a week ago, was saying, well, we're gonna come down with fines. We're gonna drop like $100,000 fines on coaches. Like, if you're doing this, like, a bunch of people got fined. Like, you just rolled this out, boom, everyone's getting fined. And then still, like, I was watching the Giants game, and Jason Garrett was going around like hugging his old Cowboys like friends and stuff. And it's a tough look. Like, I get that you're very close to the Cowboys organization. These are your good friends. You wanted to see them. It's been a long time. It's rough times. You want to yada, yada, yada. But it's a tough look when all the players are dapping each other up at the end of the games from opposite sides. Yes, you've been smashing your bodies into each other for the last like hour, while you've
Mhm.
been playing. But still, when it's not time for football, try just to like for the optics of it, to
Yeah.
try and keep distant, try to
And
wave.
everybody that wears a mask needs a lesson in wearing a mask.
Yeah,
Because how many times you cut and they're just either not wearing it or the
yeah,
nose is
and
sticking out.
uh,
And it's like if you cut and they just simply weren't wearing a mask, it's a better optic. But
yeah,
when you're wearing it improperly, it
yeah.
looks horrible.
Yeah. It's like even with the Cowboys Giants game, like they had 25% capacity in attendance, and the announcers were very
It was
adamant.
obviously in Dallas then, right?
Yeah, in Dallas.
Yeah.
Yeah. So they were very adamant about telling you everybody's wearing masks, everybody's wearing masks, everybody's being safe, everybody's social distance. And you cut to like anytime they would cut to people in the audience, they probably cut like 2 times the whole game. You think they'd want to they've been showing like cartoon people in the
Yeah.
stands this whole time in every sport, they like, and they've been cutting to those cartoon people all the time. They've been cutting to the cardboard cutouts all the time. You think we have fans in attendance, we'd want to cut to them, but you can't because none of them are wearing masks.
Yeah,
Anytime
I agree. I saw the same thing when the games that I've watched have fans. It's kind of pathetic, in all honesty.
Yeah. I
The
mean,
people,
Dr. Fauci's not even wearing him. When he was at the Nationals game, he wasn't even wearing his mask in the stands. Like, if Dr. Fauci is not doing it, you expect like Joe Schmo going to the Cowboys game to do it? Like, no way.
it's a tough look. It's a tough look, and like I get it sucks, but just put it on. And
Yeah.
if people are incapable of it, it's like, you know what? No fans. Just
Yeah.
do it. No fans. Just
Yeah.
avoid the hassle. Avoid the bad optics.
Yeah.
No fans.
Yeah.
And I mean,
And I
people
don't think
people.
it's fair. I do not think it's fair that Daniel Jones has to play in a quiet MetLife Stadium, but then he goes to Dallas and he's just, like Daniel Jones, he's a very sensitive person. And he's hearing all this cheering and stuff. Like, man, that crowd was going wild. And you think a Giants fan or two could have slipped in there? No, because they can't travel to Texas. It's just not fair.
I mean, also,
Like it's
in
an
normal times, would you travel that far to watch the Giants? No.
no.
Yeah. So, and also, can MetLife not pump crowd noise?
Yeah, but your brain, like, you may not notice, but your brain did.
Yeah, that's fair.
Like,
That's fair.
like it's a different vibe. It's a different, though. They're like the people that do the crowd noises. They've been getting better. Like at
Yeah.
first, it was just like the sound of like an airplane going over, and then now there's a subtle art to it. Like when do you cheer? When like you watching baseball and it's like every pitch, like the guy's on the sound dial and he's just like working it, like there's probably guys studying footage of games with attendance, like okay, this is the caliber of game we're doing tonight. Like it's either like two sub 500 teams meeting at the end of the year when nothing matters, or this is like game one of the World Series. They have like the gauges. They're like, well, this guy, they're looking at the scouting report. It's like, well, this guy is a fan favorite, so we're gonna really like. There's definitely guys that have just gotten like their whole employment now is based on there not being fans in attendance. So
The place where I noticed it the most is watching football when the referee makes a call, like a penalty call, and the crowd. There's been a few times where I kind of is there an actual crowd in attendance?
yeah.
Because you could hear it so much more audibly because it's coming through the referee's mic too.
Yeah.
So and it makes it. At first, I was against it.
Yeah. At first, I was against it, but
I like it.
yeah,
I like
and even in the Cowboys game, watching with fans in attendance, it was weird because the first penalty of the game, it went against the Giants, so the home crowd was going nuts, and the referee said like personal foul, like yada yada yada, and then he said personal foul, and he said like offense. At the time it was the Giants, and then he pauses, and I'm like, he paused for a real long time. And then I realized this guy's playing to the crowd for the first time. you know,
Yeah.
in forever. Like he had this long dramatic pause to let them finish like their cheering, you know, and that's something the referees haven't had to do in a while.
Yeah. I mean, if you're a referee though, I'd be going send me to the place with no crowd.
Yeah.
I don't want to listen to them.
Yeah. Yeah, that's true. But I mean, a lot of penalties went Dallas's way. So these guys love the home crowd. It's like at the end, he's like, the head referee went into his mic. He's like, Dallas, you've been great. You know,
It's like he's doing a comedy skit.
yeah, like
Oh,
because
jeez.
some of their calls, it was a comedy special.
All right. Yeah. It's not like the Giants are gonna win anyway.
Hey, you know, they were like so close. They were winning most of the game. It was tough, man, to see them go up like 14-3 in the first quarter and then just blow it. There was two times they got into the end zone and then a penalty just ripped them right out of the end zone. It was like ridiculous. And then Daniel Jones, you know, like of course he had to have a fumble in a key spot that led to the Dallas scoring a touchdown. Like, of course he had to, like, it's not a Giants game without it, you know? So you always have to account for like for that. You know, there's always you're always starting a game minus 7 points because you know Daniel Jones is gonna drop the ball and the team's gonna score a touchdown. Like it's
He's
just
essentially a poor man's Eli Manning. Like you just downgraded.
yeah,
Got a worse Eli Manning.
It's tough.
It's tough.
Man,
Now you mentioned baseball there though. Do you want to get in?
Let's get to
So
baseball.
last week we made predictions. I was completely right in the AL, completely wrong in the NL. You were completely right in the AL and 1 for 2 in the NL.
Yeah.
So pretty good.
Yeah.
So as of recording this in the AL, we got Tampa Bay leading the series against Houston 1-0.
Yeah.
What's your prediction for how that series turns out?
I think, as I've mentioned last week, the blessing of the sports gods continues. I think the Rays, like when you're a team that has been so good in the last 10 years, but in such a tough division and unable to do much in the playoffs. Now, like it seems like all those kind of that chokeness, like the choke,
Yep.
like nature of the Tampa Bay Rays hasn't really come up yet. And I think going into the series blind, like and just seeing like without game one, like I would have been a lot more like iffy about the Rays, but seeing that they won like a solid game, both teams played well. You know, it was a close game. Rays won, like Rays edged out on top. That gives me the confidence to say I think the Rays win this one in 6 games or 5 or 6 games because I'm not too and it's hard with the Houston Astros because there's so much like opinion and there's so much just like baked into the Houston Astros season this year that it's hard to give them a fair shake. Because like their stock is very low in everybody's mind.
Yeah.
So I'll give them the benefit of the doubt. I'll say 6 games. I think Rays in 6 games.
For me, the Houston Astros revenge tour continues. I think 7 games. I think the Houston Astros are gonna just at this point, I think they're gonna win the World Series. And they're gonna come out and it's going to make the World Series where people want to put the asterisks are gonna say, well, look, we did it here. We won it here. We weren't cheating.
Yeah.
So it's just gonna confuse and make people angry. And that's the type of world we're living in where we're all just confused and angry. Yeah. So I think the Houston Astros win the series in 7. I think it goes the distance. And then I think they win the World Series too. But
no, okay, but then it's like because we all said like 60 game season, there's gonna be an asterisk. So now they got asterisks on I can't even pronounce the word asterisks on asterisks.
Yeah.
Like
that actually makes it even more perfect.
Which adds to the whole like people are gonna be talking about this team for the rest of our for the rest of our lives. Like this is like you know, and now that you say that, like now that you put it that way, like you almost want like if you're one of those people been looking at it 2020 and you're saying, yeah, there's a lot of chaos, you know, there's a lot of bad chaos out there. but I love chaos.
Yeah,
I want some
embrace
good
it.
chaos. Like
Mhm.
anytime there's chaos in sports, that's good chaos. You know, if you
Mhm.
love chaos, and that is the Houston Astros. Like that is like
Now, talk about
eh,
the NL, but Chris, talk about the NLCS too. Dodgers Braves. What if the Dodgers won that series too, and it was Astros Dodgers, and the Astros won again?
you mean the Dodgers beat the Atlanta baseball team?
Yes, yes. I didn't know where you were going with that, but but that like you want to embrace the chaos. Astros Dodgers, because I think the Dodgers can beat the Braves. I'd take Dodgers in 6.
Yeah, I think you're right. Like
Astros Dodgers, and then the Dodgers. Their whole thing's gonna be like when the everything is no cheating, we're gonna win, and then they lose, and this will be their 3rd World Series loss in what 5 years?
yeah,
4 years, 4 years.
yeah, man, and I do not like the Dodgers.
No.
They're like they're like if the Yankees had a bunch of actors like Hollywood as fans. Like it's just disgusting.
Yeah,
Like
like at
it's
least the Yankees fans are they're diehard fans.
yeah,
Like
like
the Dodgers fans show up in the playoffs and just don't have any clue what's going on.
yeah, and it's so like they don't because they don't have the back wall like behind home plate. They don't have a wall there. They just have the net, right? And that's just because it's just always famous people there, and the famous people want to be seen.
Mm,
Like they
it's
play
very
into,
true.
it's so superficial. It's so like I don't want to see like yeah, it's nice to see Larry King every once in a while just to check in and see okay he's still alive, but
Yeah.
other than that, like I don't want to see you. You
Mhm.
know, like you got the Dodgers hat sticker still on it.
Yeah,
Brand new, like
yeah, I feel
on your phone, you're texting. You're tweeting and stuff.
just like Chris all throughout this show.
Yeah. Yeah, well, I'm a celebrity, so
No, I feel it though. It is. I'm not a fan of the Dodgers either.
yeah.
I think it would be absolutely hilarious. I'd feel bad for Clayton Kershaw, but I think it'd be absolutely hilarious if the
I
Astros beat
wouldn't
the Dodgers.
I wouldn't because he's a lesser pitcher when compared to somebody like Jacob deGrom,
Okay.
and sometimes lesser pitchers.
Yeah, well, at least Kershaw can consistently make the playoffs.
Yeah, well, at least Kershaw's getting tons of money, and then they're still able to pay the rest of his team tons of money to have a playoff caliber team. But now it's in the Cohen era, so deGrom's getting some back. Let's see who's the real greatest pitcher of all time now.
Fair enough. All right. Now, I mean, at this point, we've had a tough episode.
Yeah, it's been a tough.
So we had a
I'll admit it's probably mostly on me.
No, it's on me too, guy. At this point, I think we had some other stuff on the schedule. Scrap it.
Yeah,
Push it to next week. I think. Do you have any other thoughts?
I'm just wondering if there's gonna be clips from this.
Yeah, I mean, you want to do the ad read or you want me to grab it?
You could do the ad read.
Okay. You want protein? You want athletic wear? PhoenixFit.ca.com. Promo code BGT15. Get 15% off. If you've listened to this whole episode, you've listened to other episodes too. You know what we're talking about. Click the link in the bio. Click the link on our Instagram page. Click the link somewhere. Buy some goddamn protein.
Yeah, and listen to next week's podcast while you work out with your new protein.
Mm-hmm.
It'll be a good experience.
Yeah. So I think we've learned our lesson. Don't do podcasts first thing in the morning.